In the headlines, Prime Minister Skerritt to look into complaints over quality of rental apartments. The region's journalists challenged to give climate change greater prominence and the Social Security to launch a national health insurance scheme within the next 2 years. I am Kenny Williams with the Channel 5 News. Details after this. First up, Prime Minister Skerritt has given an undertaking to investigate complaints about the quality of rental apartments here. Speaking at the handing over of keys for 60 apartments in Bath Estate and Ems Hall on Wednesday, the Prime Minister said the conditions in some cases are appalling, with landlords ignoring or refusing to address those tenants' legitimate concerns.
I am sending a message to those of you who are renting homes for people in Dominica, that we will be addressing this issue. Because I go to too many homes and there are too many complaints in this country about the condition and the quality of rental apartments in Dominica. No electricity in some cases, no washroom facilities, infested countertops and kitchen cupboards, toilets not functioning properly, and you have to be walking after a landlord day in, day out. But let a month pass without you paying him and he wants to kick you out. We have to address this as a serious matter confronting our country. Because there are too many landlords who are taking advantage of poor, unsuspecting citizens. And we have a duty to address this.
He thanked the government of China for its continued partnership and friendship and had this message to those who criticize his efforts to provide safe housing and proper washrooms for the less fortunate.
I met a family this week. Lady is 79 years old, suffering from certain ailments. And I went to her home and she showed me the distance between her home and the pit latrine. And the 79-year-old lady going into the washroom, into this toilet at night, fell and broke her arm. And people are telling me that they have an issue with the government helping these people have a modern washroom. I am not doing these things for people to vote for me. I am doing this thing because I believe that we have a Christian obligation to help the poor. And we have a Christian obligation to provide housing for the homeless. We have a Christian obligation to feed the poor and hungry. We have a Christian obligation to clothe those who are naked. And we cannot keep saying in this country that we read the Bible and we pray, and then the same people who say they read the Bible and they pray criticize the government for helping people who are in need in this country. These people, they go to church and some of them are church leaders and they criticize the government for helping poor people. And I am saying to them, let me say to you again, that you are not criticizing Roosevelt Skerritt, because I am just a disciple, I am just an instrument. The Lord has placed me in a position to help people. And I have an obligation to help those who are in need. And I am making no apologies to anybody in Dominica for helping people. And those who do not want to vote for me for that, that's a matter between you, your conscience, and your Lord.
Mr. Skerritt says his primary motivation is not politics, but to help people create a better life. 6 individuals will receive keys to new apartments in Silver Lake next week. In related news, the Minister for Housing, Honorable Reginald Austrie, says recipients of apartments in Bath Estate and Ems Hall ought to consider themselves fortunate to have received new homes. Over 1,220 people applied for the 60 apartments.
It was not an easy decision to make, and I know that there's still some rumblings. I know there's still some people who are disappointed. But if you have any formula for having done this better than we did, then I'm free to receive your advice and to make sure that when we come to do the next set of apartments, which I understand is on its way, then you can give me the formula for making the selections. But I can say to you, from where I sit, I expect 3 or 4 times the number of applicants for maybe the same amount of apartment buildings. So that's something that we have to consider.
Meantime, China's ambassador to Dominica is pleased with the quality of the apartments built by the Shanghai Construction Company and funded through soft loans from the Chinese Import-Export Bank.
I really feel very proud of that this housing is very, very nice looking and also very, very beautiful, looks very beautiful. So these are the jobs done, I think, by the government of Dominic. This government, led by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, they're always thinking of the people, always thinking of the difficulty of the people. You know, the Chinese bankers also, they have to make money. Usually, their commercial rate is 5%, 5 or 6%, at least 5 or 6%. But this loan is just 2%. So other percent of the loan is subsidized by the Chinese government. So 4 or 5% is subsidized actually by the Chinese government. So we are really Chinese government also would like to do something for this government, for the Dominican people.
His Excellency went on to say that he was impressed with the fact that despite the fact that Dominica was a small island, vulnerable to natural disasters and limited in resources, the government has continued to invest in its people. Meantime, recipients of apartments at Bath Estate and Emsall have been telling Channel 5 News how grateful they are for what represents a significant improvement in their quality of life.
I formerly lived on Cox Street, but presently I'm living in Bath Estate in a 3-bedroom.
Okay, could you tell us how you feel after having received an apartment from the government?
Oh, well, you have to give God thanks for every single thing that you go through. Because in life, you got to put God first. And for that, and I bless the government and the cabinet for thankful to them for that appreciation I did over that with my family. I feel very elated.
Of course, how will that improve things for you compared to where you were before?
Well, where I was before, the convenience wasn't too good, honestly to God. But praise to the Lord Almighty that I made numerous occasions that I could get something much better. And I appreciate that. God bless. That's it.
That's the best thing that happened to me. Thank you, the Prime Minister. And that we have a good Prime Minister, you know. Otherwise, because twice I got flooded where I was staying. And if it wasn't for the Prime Minister, I would never be able to have a house like that. And I'm very happy at my home. When rain fall in, my boy, I can't sleep in the room because the whole roof falling down in the room. I have to sit down on my chair with a basin by my side, so I can't sleep. But now, even rain falling, I don't even know if rain falling. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
And what apartment you get from the government, a 2 or 3?
2-bedroom.
I am very grateful to God, the Honorable Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt, and the government. I am very pleased because many people said things, why is me who got apartment? Nobody knew my business. So I am grateful and I feel happy and I praise God for giving me this apartment.
Of course, and could you tell us what type of apartment you receive, whether it's a 2 or 3 bedroom?
I have a ground floor with 2 bedrooms.
On April 10th, 2017, I received the keys of our apartment at Emsall. I have to say thanks to my Prime Minister, Dr. Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, who I refer to as my hero. We rented houses for years. There were good, nice landlords, not too nice landlords, inconsiderate landlords. However, this is now in the past, thanks to my Prime Minister and ministers of government. Choosing 60 families from 1,200 applicants was not an easy task. Those of us who receive our apartments can consider ourselves as very fortunate. PM, we love you, we love you, we love you. Thanks very much, because today we are in a beautiful apartment, both Paulette and myself. We are in a beautiful 3-bedroom apartment with all its amenities. So thank you once again, and God bless you richly.
More top stories. Dominica Social Security says it expects to launch a fully fledged national health insurance scheme in the next 18 months to 2 years. A pilot program was launched on April 3, which provides funding for parents and children in need to seek medical services for conditions that cannot be treated by the primary healthcare system and at Princess Margaret Hospital. 80% of the medical cost is covered by the pilot program, while the remaining 20% is expected to be covered by the patient. It targets single mothers 35 years and under and children 3 years and under.
So if that service is not available there and it is available in Dominica from another local provider or another local facility, the medical consultant in the government system will refer that patient to that other person in Dominica, or if the service has to be accessed overseas, a referral has to be made to that institution or that provider overseas. And it is on that basis that these persons will come to the Social Security to access that service. We are hoping that within 18 months to 2 years, we can see the rolling out of the full-fledged National Health Insurance Program, because this is supposed to be a precursor to the full-fledged National Health Insurance Program.
Lessons learned from the ongoing pilot program are expected to guide the formation of a national health insurance scheme where beneficiaries are expected to make some form of contribution up front. The lifetime of the pilot program depends on how quickly its $5 million startup contribution can be used up.
In this particular case with the pilot, it's like a health fund that has been established with a $5 million initially.
This is a pilot program. What are the outcomes expected or at least hoped for?
Okay, what we are hoping to do is to understand how people's response will be to a full-fledged National Health Insurance Program, where they will be required to make a payment of a contribution of some sort in advance.
So far, 3 patients have benefited from the pilot program. Coming up, is there a role for Dominica in making the regional airline market more competitive? We'll explore that option and more when we return. Thanks for staying with us. Journalists from around the region have been challenged to make greater efforts at putting the issue of climate change on the front burner. The challenge was sent out to Caribbean journalists as they participate in a 2-day climate change conference in Belize, which started on Wednesday. The workshop, funded by the government of Japan and organized by the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, JCCP, saw journalists from 8 Caribbean countries in attendance. Deputy Resident Representative for the United Nations Development Program, Karen Bernard, warned reporters that bringing the message of climate change to the wider population does have its challenges.
There are a lot of scientific terminology, terms that we need to learn. There are feedback loops. There are points of no return. There are significant numbers. And so that's a challenge that, as media experts, that all of us are here to work on. So part of your job as media experts is to really see and understand how climate change is affecting people in their daily lives and threatening them, but also find a way to communicate that so that it gets through to people.
Meantime, project development specialist from the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center, Keith Nichols, urged journalists to become more involved in the discussion on climate change.
I think our biggest challenge, you'll be exposed to tools during this workshop on how to communicate the messages to others and what tools are available. But beyond that is, how do you sustain the impact of this workshop or events like these? How do you continue that work when you get back to your respective domains? How do we continue to engage the public and inform the public on what the issues are and what solutions can be brought to the table to help us achieve the goals of sustainable development?
The workshop also marked the climate change campaign launch of the JCCP. In other news, U.S.-based Dominican pilot and flight instructor Rainstar Luke believes Dominica should play its part in making the regional airline market more competitive. The pilot and flight instructor explained how the country can contribute to increased airlift.
Yes, it is very important to have new regional airlines, but we have to also make it easier as governments of the Caribbean for a new airline to start up, give them faster approvals, and of course having open skies, which would allow airlines to operate within various territories without restrictions, and to, in other words, reduce the red tape. There's a lot of paperwork that needs to be done to start an airline. There are a lot of various government agencies we have to deal with, but if we can streamline the process and also lower our taxes, on fuel, maintenance facilities and supplies, is also a big contributor to a lot of failure of many airlines in the Caribbean.
He believes the island should be part of an open skies agreement.
I think an open skies agreement, whether it's with the US or Europe, would be certainly beneficial, because what that also means, it's a reciprocal agreement. For example, if in the future we do have an international airport, and let's say, for example, we do have our own national airline in the future with our own registration of the aircraft, we will be able to operate flights to the country that we have an agreement with without any restrictions. That means there are no limitations on the number of flights we could operate or the type of aircraft that we can operate to that country, which would be greatly beneficial. It's for competitive reasons that we have open skies. A lot of Caribbean islands have now begun to have open skies with the U.S., which is beneficial for both the U.S. carriers. There are some airlines that would eventually have to purchase large aircraft in order to fly to the U.S. to take advantage of this.
And a week-long awareness on sex education to mark Sex Week is revealing that Dominica is a largely homophobic society. Director of Leve Dominique campaign, Delroy Williams, says Dominica has a long way to go in how it views homosexuality in the context of breaking discrimination.
This was one of the first discussions that we engaged in on social media, the fact that Dominica is being classified as a homophobic society. Our laws, particularly the Buggery law, is homophobic in nature. We have to be cognizant of that fact, and in our discussions, this was one of the major points that was brought up to classify Dominica as one of being homophobic. We also have instances of violence against persons who are either gay or lesbian in aircraft, although they are few and far in between, but still, because of the way that we view those instances, the way that nobody really condemns it in a public forum, we kind of condone that kind of a behavior.
Still, Williams notes this is not the case across the board.
As a society, we are very open people, we are welcoming as well. However, we have steps to go in terms of removing that taboo from Dominica's perception. We have come a long way, I must admit. More and more we have persons who are accepting of other persons' differences, whether it be religious or sexual or other. As it relates to the homophobic issue though, we have a lot of work to do.
Contrary to what some may believe, Sex Week is not observed to encourage people to be promiscuous. Organizers say it coincides with Sexual Assault Month in April. Sex Week is organized by the Bureau of Gender Affairs in partnership with the Leve Dominique campaign. Opposition leader Lennox Linton was due to pay Kieran Pinat Byrne £45,000 on Thursday. This issue stems from a court matter between the two men in 2002. Back then, Pinat Byrne claimed that Mr. Linton defamed him online and on radio with respect to his involvement in the Layu River Hotel project. Senior counsel Anthony Astafan told local media on Thursday Mr. Linton had to meet that obligation immediately, and failure to do so would require Pinat Byrne to involve the local court to enforce the order. Astafan said the court could levy execution of the order against any of Mr. Linton's assets. Chit Chat is next. Welcome to Chit Chat. We're here with Ms. Giselle Astafan, here to talk to us about an exciting event happening towards the end of April, Raga Creole. Now, just tell us a little bit about the event, Raga Creole, the purpose of the event.
Well, Raga Creole was created to be like a third major event in Dominica. You know, we have Carnival, you have World Creole Music Festival, now we have Raga Creole, dance hall, reggae music, Creole English artists, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, the event seeks to have some more popularity, you know, similar to that of the World Creole Music Festival, of course eventually getting there.
Oh yeah, I think we have a lot of potential with Raga Creole. It's, you know, people love dance hall, they love reggae, and this year we have a very good lineup. We have Maca Diamond and Luciano from Jamaica. We have Admiralty from Guadeloupe, and we have Pi from Martinique. It's an interesting new band. I think people are going to really love him. And then we have our local artists, Colton T, Atunia, and Carlene from Fanatic Band. So it's a very good lineup.
Of course, people looking forward to this event, where can they get tickets?
Well, the tickets are available at Bullseye Pharmacy, Deepex, and at Astafans, and online at www.ragacreole.com or TicketPal. So yes, it's very easy to get it.
Of course, exciting stuff happening. April 29th?
April 29th, yes. Doors open at 7. You can buy tickets at the stadium ticket booth from the afternoon of the day of. And yeah, it starts sharp, 8 o'clock, and it's going to be, the show is going to roll artist to artist, fun-filled.
All right, there you have it from Ms. Asdafan. Of course, April 29th, the place to be, Stadium Forecourt, starting, gates open at 7, but it starts at 8. And of course, you don't want to miss this Raga Creole, April 29. Sports is next. We kick off with football, where approximately 25 football goalkeepers here will be better equipped for coaching and goalkeeping, complements a 3-day CONCACAF course here. DFA's technical director, Jerome Badwell, noted the timeliness of the course since the sport has seen a decline in goalkeeping interest locally.
Over the years, we have lamented the decrease in the interest displayed among our young persons as far as goalkeeping is concerned. We know that a number of our goalkeepers have developed naturally, and we've not seen any significant attempt to improve those goalkeepers over the years. We have decided that our goalkeepers must not be developed by chance. And definitely, here is the reason why we are equipping you coaches. We are really looking forward to seeing you going back to your clubs, to your communities, and to put what you have learned into practice. As a matter of fact, as part of our licensing, club licensing program, we expect you at your clubs and in your schools to be already paying attention to the youth teams, the youth being part of your clubs. And definitely we would expect you to do some work with them, and we are really hoping to see an improvement in the level of goalkeeping on the island.
Meantime, the 3-day facilitator, Clayne Plummer, encouraged the coaches to take a keen interest in goalkeeping, since international league clubs are beginning to invest more into skilled goalkeepers.
You can see over the past years, we have developed a lot of good soccer players, but very few goalkeepers. And goalkeeping is something that now a lot of people are paying attention, that even the best teams in the world, they need to have an outstanding goalkeeper and able to have a chance to win a match, win a championship, win the World Cup, etc., etc. So my goal is to come in here and to really dismantle all the myths, all the prior knowledge that we have about goalkeeping, because after really getting in depth and studying more about what it takes, not only to prepare ourselves as coaches, but to take that preparation and to transfer it into teaching our young goalkeepers is a completely different thing.
Sports continues with basketball, where Kyrie FM Old School went down to Paybush Snipers by 18 points in action from the 2017 Flow DABA League on Wednesday. Final scores: Snipers 64, Old School 46. Top scoring for Snipers, we had Shannon Matthews, 22 points, 5 rebounds, Ahmed Fagan, 16.7 rebounds, and Keloy Paul, 14 points, 11 rebounds, 4 steals. In a losing effort for Old School, we had Bert Benjamin, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals, and Trevor Bernard, 11 points, 11 rebounds. Game 2 was called off due to the weather. Meantime, the league continues on Friday when Lindo Park X-Men 2 and Ronald Charles Chambers All-Stars engage in an intense encounter from 7. At 9, Police Sports Club will be eager to recover from their previous defeat when they take on Detroit Blazers. Both matches are carded for Lindo Park. In related sports, Dominica State College and Portsmouth Secondary will now move to the finals of the 2017 Sports Division Under-20 Male Basketball Championships following wins from their respective semifinal matches on Wednesday. In the DSC versus SJA encounter, we had State College with a 65-point lead against St. John's Academy, shattering their hopes of qualifying for the finals. Final scores: State College 105, St. John's Academy 40. JV Bellot scored 20 points and 10 rebounds for DSC, with Aaron Hippolyte adding 19 points, 2 rebounds. Fewani Foy 14 points, 14 rebounds. Joshua Henderson 13 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, and Jaden Laura 13 points, 10 rebounds. For SJA, Lemar Irish had 17 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 steals. Theo Doverin 12 points, 3 rebounds, and Felix Lawrence 11 points, 11 rebounds. In the other semi-final, home advantage seemed to have worked for Portsmouth Secondary when they took on the visiting St. Mary's Academy, defeating them 72-65. Scoring for PSS, Dante Xavier 20 points and Devin Thomas 12. For SMA, Kenaya Lloyd 32 points and Kahath Barron 14. This means that Dominica State College and Portsmouth Secondary will meet up in the Under-20 Boys Basketball Championships, carried for Thursday, May 8 at the Massac Hart Court at 3 p.m. Next up, one Dominican boxing referee will get a chance to improve his ranking during the OECS Invitational Boxing Championships in St. Lucia. Joseph Fadul is the only one-star International Boxing Association referee here.
I've just gotten my 1-star. I am eager to go for more because after 1-star it's 2-star, after 2-star it's 3-star, and when you get 3-star that means big names, like big games and events like the Olympics, Olympic qualifiers, Olympics. This is where I would like not just to see myself, but I would like to see Dominica's name, that when they put up referee, you see Joseph Fadul and you see proudly Dominica's flag next to the name. And this is what I would like. If we may not get a chance to ever be at the Olympics as a sports person or an athlete, then we can say that Dominica will have a sports official at the highest games.
Fadul had to readjust to being a boxing referee after being out of that scene for over 5 years.
Our training tournaments at the Caribbean Development Championships in Barbados in December, it was challenging, I can tell you that, especially not having refereed for over 5 years. All right? I mean, before in Dominica, we used to have a lot more fights. And even in that, the system has changed over several times. So it was learning on the new system and going at it.
The 2017 OECS Boxing Championships run from April 27 to 29 in St. Lucia. Sports continues with this item, where 2017 is said to be an ambitious year for Dominica Fencing Association as the local body seeks to make significant strides in the sport through more regional and international exposure. This according to President of the Dominica Fencing Association, Woody Lawrence.
We have some tournaments coming up, international tournaments. We're hoping that we can send off a team to the Pan American Senior Championships in Montreal in June. We also have World Fencing Day, which will be in September. And then, we can, 2017 has been very ambitious so far. I think sometimes for a small association, we have quite a bit on the plate, but we have a fairly good team working on our behalf.
That's all the sporting highlights for now. Join us next time. We check in now with the Met Office for the latest weather update.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I'm your presenter, Annie Skerritt Joseph. We start off by taking a look at earlier satellite imagery, which showed some area of cloudiness over the northern portion of the Lesser Antilles, and this was as a result of weak unstable conditions affecting the area. Visible satellite imagery showed an increase in cloud cover over Dominica during the afternoon, and this resulted in mostly cloudy skies. Radar imagery indicated some shower activity over Dominica and the central portion of the Lesser Antilles during the afternoon. Conditions for tonight: mostly cloudy to overcast with some scattered showers and periods of rain. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy skies to overcast at times with some showers. Persons in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks, you are advised to exercise some caution. Taking a look at sea conditions: slight to moderate in open water with waves up to 5 feet. Conditions for the next 3 days: tomorrow, Friday, mostly cloudy skies to overcast at times with some scattered showers. On Saturday, cloudy skies with some scattered showers, and on Sunday, a slight improvement in conditions, partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers. An increase in wind speeds is also expected. Across the region tomorrow, cloudy to overcast with some scattered showers can be expected over the northern half of the Lesser Antilles, while the southern half will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with some scattered showers. On the international scene, partly cloudy skies in New York, Miami, and Caracas, overcast skies in London, and clear skies in Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:43 a.m. and set at 6:23 p.m. For up-to-date information, log on to our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Thank you for viewing and join us next time. Good night.
To end the news, the headlines again. Prime Minister Skerritt to look into complaints over quality of rental apartments. The region's journalists challenged to give climate change greater prominence, and the Social Security to launch a national health insurance scheme within the next 2 years. Feel free to contact us at news@MarpinNews27thApril2k17. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Kenny Williams. To our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.